Spiritforged Western releases this week, and if you're anything like me before Origins, you want to know more about the legends and decks before buying into them and building them. Fortunately for this release, we have some competitive tournament data to help guide us. So today we're going to do a breakdown of the first 6 legends in card number order releasing with Spiritforged, how they play, how they're positioned in the current competitive meta, and my personal opinion on how fun and strong each legend is from C tier to S tier. So here is part 1 of what's fun and strong in Spiritforged. But before we get into it, I just want to say you don't have to run a super competitive deck in order to enjoy the game. At the local level, there'll be amazing and memorable moments that you'll get to enjoy no matter what legend you choose. If you want to smash games with your main in League, just go for it. Sign up to a Nexus Night and have fun. Note, I'll be referring to domains by their color name rather than their formal name for ease of new player understanding. Also, at the time of this recording, the Nanjing Regional Open is still taking place, so that data will not be included. Quickly about the stats as well. During the Chinese Regional Opens, a field of about 500 or so players is culled from day 1 down to 64 on day 2. That means that about 1 in 10 players are getting eliminated, so the listed conversion percentage denotes what percentage of the Legends players made it to day 2, so above 13% will be an above average rate.
Locked and loaded.
Rumble is in the red-blue domain pairing along with Kai'Sa. The legend is themed around providing a might bonus for mechs on defense with the shield. Decks will typically run Rumble hot-headed as their chosen champion, which provides both an on-curve turn 2 play that bolsters the offense of your turn 1 play, and provides some recursion for later on. The signature spell is a cheap reaction speed buff for all your mechs, typically run as a 1 or 2 of across the main deck and sideboard. The colours offer premium mid to top end units and highly efficient damage based removal. Rumble's mech deck is Riftbound's first real unit typal deck. The mechs will synergize and improve each other, so the more you have, the more exponentially powerful your board will become. Cards like Rumble Scrapper and Breakneck Mech provide absolutely obscene value with an already established mech board. Most of the deck's interaction is power heavy and will ideally need to be saved until later in the game, so the top end can still be played on curve. Battlefields like Forgotten Monument or Obelisk of Power are typically run to help you get to the late game. It also doesn't mind stranding units at a battlefield like Valmor's Lair, as the mechs work better on defense anyway thanks to Rumble's legend ability. Plus, Gemjammer and Breakneck Mech can provide ganking to bypass the Lair's movement restriction. Or you can just let the unit die and recur from trash with Rumble hot-headed. Let's go through some tournament performances. In Fuzhou, 4 players played Rumble, working out to a less than 1% representation across the field, with a 0% conversion to top 64. So no Rumble players made it out of day 1, unfortunately. Pretty similar results across Chengdu and Dalian. More players are testing him out, it seems, maybe? And the best performance so far was in Dalian, so who knows? Pretty unpopular in general though. Unfortunately, abysmal conversion rate makes him a pretty rough choice for competitive play. So overall, Rumble is in an excellent domain pairing with a clear game plan. Some of the mechs are quite pushed, and mechs provide some fun rewards for being in the unit type. The deck is far from optimized, and lots of experimentation is still taking place on how best to run the legend. However, mechs don't have a game-breaking payoff, so the deck is finding a hard time getting footing in the competitive meta.
Don't get in my way.
Lucian is in the red-orange domain pairing along with Volibear. The legend is themed around both equipment and aggression, with the overall deck catering to a hit-and-run style of gameplay. Decks universally run Lucian Merciless as its chosen champion, a very pushed unit with some pretty crazy play patterns. The signature spell Relentless Pursuit fits perfectly with the hit-and-run strategy, and as an action speed movement spell, it can allow for shenanigans like scoring on an opponent's turn. The colours offer powerful and efficient interaction and combat tricks, though it does tend to be really power hungry in general. Turn 1 will typically involve playing out equipment so you can leverage Weapon Master on Lucian Merciless on the following turn. Each of your subsequent turns should be really fun and interactive, but if Lucian is removed early, that is gonna hurt a lot. The deck often runs the Trinity Force and Skyfall combo, which with Lucian Merciless and other movement cards can lead to really insane turns. Theoretically, you could go from 0 points at the start of one turn to winning in your opponent's very next turn, though that would be some insane magical Christmas land stuff. The battlefields like Sunken Temple help with draw, and Forge of the Fluffed will help with some power costs. In terms of performance, Lucian's coming up in the world. It's also a really strange glitch in the Matrix with exactly 10 players rocking him in every regional open so far. Very decent conversion rate in Dalian, though obviously the numbers are so small here that it skews the data quite a lot. 9th place as well, just missing out on top 8 is no joke. Generally, really unpopular legend, but it seems like good pilots are just blasting their way through the field and putting on pretty strong performances overall. So, Lucian is a deck with unique gameplay and the scope for really epic and memorable games. Lucian Merciless is really strong, and when it gets going you'll be running in and out of battlefields like crazy. He does run some very expensive equipment however, and might be vulnerable to sideboarded gear hate. I think anyone that runs Lucian will appreciate the fun movement mechanics while not being mentally flooded every game as you are with Yasuo or Irelia. The deck as it currently stands looks to be pretty costly though, with most decks running 2 to 3 copies of Kai'Sa Survivor, 3 Relentless Pursuit, 3 Skyfall, and 2 to 3 Bone Shivers. Yikes.
It's Draven time.
Draven is in the red-purple domain pairing along with Annie and Jinx. The legend is supposedly themed around combat, but it's just a card advantage generating machine. Decks are predominantly running Draven Vanquisher, which is a solid attacker, defender, and resource generator. The signature gear Spinning Axe is run mostly as a 3-of in the most popular variant of the deck, though the combo or miracle variant doesn't run any. Spinning Axe is very strong, working as a combat trick due to quick draw, and provides a persistent though vulnerable might increase. The colour combo is arguably one of the best in the game. Purple is widely regarded as one of the best colours, and for good reason. It has card selection, movement, hand disruption, and now a counterspell. And red isn't anything to sneeze at either, providing efficient removal and powerful mid-game threats. The game plan? Engage in combat and win with sheer card advantage. Drawing lots of cards so you can find the tools to answer your problems is really strong. Treasure Hunter and Draven Vanquisher help smooth out some of those steep power costs as well. Mindsplitter and Bryn here are amazing top-end units for this deck, as they help you take perfect combats. The deck will really value being on the board early and then leveraging early momentum into a really strong mid-game. This will usually be in the form of Spinning Axe to bolster your early game units, or just overall solid mid-game plays like Draven Vanquisher. One thing of note, Draven has a second playstyle, which is more combo oriented. The Miracle Draven looks to leverage Purple Ezreal and Fizz, along with Cord Shot, Stack Deck and Scrap Heap, on top of discard to draw mechanics, to churn through the deck. This type of deck typically requires good card knowledge and reps to be really good at, and offers a higher level of complexity compared with the otherwise straightforward game plan of the mid-range Draven. In terms of the performance, we do like a good villain. Draven is the boogeyman of Spiritforged, and his tournament performances have been pretty good. He won Fuzhou and Chengdu, but missed out on the grand finals in Dalian, and I think most people who are invested in Riftbound let out a small sigh of relief. But with that being said, he's popular, posting up good conversion rates, and winning tournaments. Not much else to say. Overall, Draven is a really strong deck with a relatively straightforward game plan, and if you've never played in the Riftbound competitive scene before, it will be a good entry point. This is not to say that the deck doesn't have skill expression, but rather the barrier to entry may be lower than for some other competitive decks. The combo variant of the deck is seeing less competitive play, but provides a really interesting and complex alternate playstyle. Reksai is in the red-yellow domain pairing along with Darius. Her legend ability provides a unique playstyle that synergizes with specific cards, or just provides some conditional card advantage. Decks are typically running Rek'Sai Breacher as its chosen champion, which gives the very strong Accelerate ability to units played off Rek'Sai's legend. Her signature spell Void Rush is an outright staple in her playstyle, and is typically run as a 3-of. This card at worst is 2 energy, 1 power, draw 2 cards, and at best takes advantage of her deck synergies, which we'll go through in a minute. Her colour combination offers the best removal suite in the game, as red is defined by its efficient damage-based removal, and yellow by its array of direct and indirect removal. Red also makes up for some weaknesses in yellow, providing above rate, mid and late game threats. In terms of gameplay, Reksai has a couple of play patterns. First is an Immortal Phoenix build. The second is a more straightforward value focused build, with a typical red, mid and late game staples. So far, the Immortal Phoenix variants have performed better, but the sample size is pretty small. Phoenix provides value throughout the game, and is low costed enough that you're usually going to be able to play him if you reveal it with Reksai's legend ability. The removal suite of red-yellow is not only quite powerful, but very energy efficient, making playing Phoenix out of trash really easy. The deck has some specific synergy pieces as well, which can provide energy refunds, energy discounts, and accelerate 2 units. These synergies can be quite strong, however are a bit RNG dependent and not game breaking. Unfortunately, the performance is not great. Around 2% or less representation in each tournament across the regional open so far. Only one Reksai separating herself from the pack with a 38th place finish in Chengdu. Overall though, dismal signs for the Void Burrower in the competitive scene. Overall, Reksai has an interesting game plan, but unfortunately suffers from narrow synergy pieces and a legend that forces you to play the card you draw immediately. Once the value engine is running, however, and especially if you can get multiple Phoenixes in the trash, it's gonna feel amazing. As long as you pick up Immortal Phoenixes now before Reksai has an outstanding performance at a tournament, the deck should be relatively affordable to put together.
Name's Ornn. No further pleasantries needed.
Ornn is in the green-blue domain pairing along with Ahri. His legend provides a straightforward pathway to value, saving you power throughout the game for playing gear and using gear abilities like Equip. Decks are typically running Ornn Forge God, which gets bigger the more gear you have, and Deflect 2 is really serious protection, particularly in green. I just want to note that if your opponent plays removal on Ornn Forge God and you counter it, they still have to recycle 2. Ornn's signatures are 3 different gear, each with a unique keyword, meaning you can only play 1 copy of it in your main deck. Most decks are running Shurelya's Requiem, with Forgefire Cape sometimes. Rabadon's Death Crown unfortunately is not typically run. Ornn's colour combination has a strong control package involving counterspells and stuns from green, along with direct damage from blue, and the Death Insurance duo of Guardian Angel and Zhonya's Hourglass. The game plan is to get some early game value from your legend, with cards like Seal of Focus, set up your equipment and Death Insurance, then play out your gigantic Ornn Forge God. Then, it's a game of protecting your Ornn, using his giant booty to take and hold battlefields. Emperor's Divide offers some movement, as does the insane Shurelya's Requiem and Azir Ascendant. This will allow you to move between battlefields and use your Ornn Bowling Ball as both offense and defense. Decks seem to be moving away from the all-in hold strategy using Tiana Crown Guard to make it a one battlefield game, though she is often seen run as a 1 or 2 of. You are a late game deck, so battlefields are typically in service of getting there, though you do see Ornn's Forge as well to discount those gear costs. Performance-wise, Ornn's proving to be a bit more popular than the other legends so far in the competitive scene, except for Draven obviously, but with only one pilot posting some decent results in Chengdu. I would wager that Draven and Irelia both having access to Rebuke will make life pretty tough for Ornn in general, especially since Dravens will churn through their deck and will see Rebuke fairly often. Overall, Ornn seems a super fun deck, and one of those decks I'd happily run if I open his cards. The deck typically runs 3 Spellsonger along with 3 Seals of Focus and at least 1 Tiana Crown Guard, so will typically be fairly expensive to run. If you want to play the Terminator style of deck with just one massive chonky boy, this will be the deck for you.
Sword, staff, fish, nothing speaking to me.
Jax is in the orange-green domain pairing along with Master Yi and Lee Sin. His legend provides the unique ability to move equipment between units, something that can only otherwise be done with Weapon Master. It also provides power discounts to equip costs, with you only having to pay energy. Both Jax Unrelenting and Unmatched have been used as his chosen champion, though the list that got into the top 8 ran Unmatched. His signature spell Counterstrike's pretty cute effect. Note that if you engage in combat with, say, lots of small units like recruits, damage during combat is all dealt simultaneously, so it should all be prevented. Jax's colour pairing offers the control and protection elements of green, and the efficient early game units and spells of orange. The gameplay for Jax decks varies widely. Some are looking to establish early board position, leverage his legend for value, and finesse the efficient interaction to victory. Others have the top end of Ruin Runner and use more expensive equipment such as Bone Shiver and Trinity Force. First Mate is a pretty popular choice, providing the deck extra movement that most people are not expecting. The top 8 deck in Dalian also ran Aphelios and Wizened Elder along with Warmog's Armor, and Monastery of Hirana and Sunken Temple to round off a pretty sweet buff package. Consistent across the board though is a control package of Defy, Challenge, and Counter-Strike. Very efficient and tricky for opponents to play optimally into. Battlefields like the Dreaming Tree and Sunken Temple help with card draw, and often Ornn's Forge is in the mix for the energy discount. Overall, the gameplay seems pretty fun, though very open to a bunch of different build paths at the moment. While being a very unpopular champion in terms of play rate, he has posted one incredible tournament performance. A player can always have a dream run and overperform, but you do wonder if there's some unexplored potential in this deck. The other performances aren't anything to ignore either. The top player in Chengdu and Fuzhou didn't make day 2, but they weren't very far off. The list across the 3 top ranking players across each tournament are very wildly different, so I suspect people are still trying to figure out how best to run him. I think Jax might be one to watch in the competitive scene. So Jax is an interesting legend with lots of potential. Time will tell what the ideal build of Jax is, and I think if you run him throughout the season and get to understand him, he will surprise you. The color pairing provides excellent control elements and some powerful early and mid game. Card draw will be a challenge, and typically you'll look to the battlefields to help you on that front. I personally expect big things from Jax and his believers in the season to come. Also, he looks to be dirt cheap to build as long as he remains a sleeper. Counter-Strike is really strong and a 3-of in all his decks, so if he starts putting on some good performances, his deck will become more expensive. And that's it for today. Please leave a comment if you'd like to see part 2. I swear I'm not gatekeeping it, the script is unwritten, but if you want it, I'll crank it out ASAP. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I'll catch you in the next one.